Joining Women in Resource Development Corporation's Career Connections Mining event. My name is Leigh Wall and my pronouns are she and her. I'm WRDC's Outreach and Engagement Coordinator and I will be facilitating today's event. So before we get into it, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items. So first and foremost, there's space for everyone to have a voice. We encourage you to be active in the chat throughout the session. This is a journey. We're all at different places in our career, so we're all here to learn, gather information. We all have lived experiences and value to add to this discussion, regardless of where we are in that journey. Respect is the foundation, so even though we will all have different beliefs and values, we'll be mindful of respecting each other in the chat, that sort of thing. Language is constantly changing, and WRDC does our best to keep up with that. And we're going to be having a Q&A period at the end of the event. So if you have any questions for any of our speakers, please type them into the Q&A tab at any time, and then we'll address them once everyone has presented. So to kick off the event, we're going to play a short video from WRDC's Career Development Manager, Lisa Rostenberg.
Hi, my name is Lisa Rostenberg. My pronouns are she, her. I am the Career Development Manager at Women in Resource Development Corporation, WRDC. Welcome to our Career Connections event. We respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and Beothuk. We would like to recognize the Inuit of Nunavut and Nunatuhavut and the Innu of Nitassinan and their ancestors as the original peoples of Labrador. We strive for respectful relationships with all the peoples of this province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. For over 25 years, Women in Resource Development Corporation, WRDC, has been changing the culture of work in industries and sectors that have historically been inaccessible and unwelcoming for women. We are a nonprofit organization committed to increasing women's participation in technology and skilled trades. We offer a variety of programs and services to address challenges surrounding the attraction, recruitment, retention, and advancement of women in these careers. Our career development practitioners have provided thousands of girls, women, and gender diverse individuals with the knowledge, resources, and supports they need to make informed career choices and successfully train and advance in STEM and skilled trades. Our gender and DEI specialists have assessed and supported hundreds of employers, delivered training to thousands of employees, and provided direct linkages to skilled and qualified women. Our experienced research consultants have designed, implemented, and analyzed thousands of workplace culture and inclusion surveys, providing insight and evidence-based strategies to improve employee experiences, corporate culture, and inclusion. WRDC is creating a local, diverse, skilled workforce and supporting employers in their efforts to create and maintain inclusive workplaces. Women refers to anyone who identifies as a woman and explicitly includes not only cis women, but also trans women, anyone who identifies as non-binary, non-conforming, and/or gender fluid, and anyone irrespective of assigned gender at birth, gender identity, and gender expression, who has experienced or is subject to experiencing discrimination based on identifying as a woman and/or being identified by others as a woman. Girls have a similar definition, with age being the only distinguishing difference between the two. We include a slide on our values because it guides all that we do, and it is equally, if not more important, to talk about how we do it. Our values shape the culture of our organization and guide us as we go about our work. We value diversity and inclusion. We listen to understand, and we create safer spaces for shared learning. We walk our talk with honesty, integrity, and empathy. We support growth and social change. We meet people and organizations wherever they are on their journey and help them move forward. We believe in true collaboration and partnerships. Without it, change cannot and will not happen. And we continually strive for excellence in all that we do. When we know better, we do better. WRDC is leading the way to gender equality in technology and skilled trades. We offer a variety of programs and services to address challenges surrounding the attraction, recruitment, retention, and advancement of women in these careers. Key activities include career exploration programs, education, and outreach, including our STEM for Girls Club, career development and employment assistance services for women and gender diverse individuals, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, consultation services, and training for workplaces, and research, collaboration, and partnerships with key stakeholders to identify solutions to challenges commonly identified by women in trades and technology. Please visit WRDC.ca and STEMforgirls.ca for more information on our programs, services, and supports. Thank you for spending this time with me to learn more about our organization and the work that we do. Please contact WRDC with any questions or to request additional information on our programs and services. Thank you and enjoy the event.
You're muted, Leigh.
I'm muted. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, for providing that overview. So now that you know a little bit more about WRDC's programs and services, let's move on to our speakers. So first up, we have Travis Richards from Calibre Mining. So over to you, Travis.
Okay, thank you. Happy to be here today for sure. I'm employed now as a strategist with with specific focus on people development, program development with Calibre, just recently known as Marathon Gold. So you may hear that occasionally now as we're going through the transition, but they're one and the same properties. So Calibre is now, I guess, makes us quite a larger company and gives us a lot of security, I would say, as we're building this gold mine. So I work specifically for the Valentine mine operation. And I've I've been doing a lot of work in terms of in the arena of DEI and gender equity. So that's given me opportunities like this to speak with through to WRDC employees and through events like this. So I'm very proud to be a part of it, and thanks for having me. Now, if someone can tell me in a second if my presentation is sharing, I'll get started. Gary or Leigh, can you see my presentation?
It's just the PowerPoint version at the moment, not the presentation slide.
Okay.
There you go.
Perfect.
Good to go.
Okay. I guess my intention over the next few minutes here is to tell you about, I guess, the wonderful careers in mining and pathways to get there. Yeah, I'll be talking a lot about our process and specific to Valentine and Calibre, but my thought is that the industry is a wonderful one to get involved in, and many of us are transient these days, and we got to be open to that. If a place like our mine site isn't it don't give you exactly what you're looking for, then there are great opportunities in the industry, and I think more than ever is a real secure place to get involved in terms of long-term career employment. I'm really glad that I did. Some of what I'll talk about will be specifically about what I just said, and then a little bit about our hiring process and how to apply for jobs with us, and I guess the exciting year ahead for us in terms of ramp up. We are a company now, or a mine, that is still under construction. We're about 150 employees-ish with Calibre directly. There's also, I guess in total, we're around the 600 mark now, including contractors and consultants that are at our site currently building this mill and this mine site for us. I'm very proud, and not just because it is what I work at directly, but I think it's very visionary on behalf of any company now to start to think about industrial benefit agreements before we get into operation. And yes, there's lots of challenges with that along the way during construction, because there is some differences in terms of just, I guess, long-term view. And for those of us who get into operations, we often wish that planning was done before. So I'm proud to say that we as a company has already done a lot of work in these areas of planning for our people to make sure that we got qualified residents in Newfoundland and Labrador, and that we're hiring locally, and we're putting some much needed priority on making our work site look like a normal community where there's equal representation of everybody, and we can break down some stigmas and stereotypes and boundaries, so that we're sharing, making safe a workplace that can suit everybody. So we've been putting, I have in particular, but not only, a lot of our team has been putting quite a bit of effort into making sure that we've got a diversified workforce for the future that includes women, Indigenous groups, and visible minorities, and persons with disabilities. We are located, for those of you who are familiar, I guess the closest, largest community would be Grand Falls, Windsor, but we're actually pretty close to a couple-hour drive from there. We're roughly 80 kilometers of old logging road in the interior of the island portion of the province. But there are a lot of communities around the area. So our company has made some cooperation agreements, and we continue to work towards making sure that local communities are represented, and I guess you could say getting their full and fair consideration for employment and for contracting work and such. We feel is a good thing. I do personally as well. We've also entered into social economic agreements with Alipu and Mi'kmaq. Something that only just recently came to I guess a finalized agreement just early last fall, I do believe it was, but something that we've been having discussions about for a while, and another piece of the puzzle that we're putting together as we move towards be in operation and fully functioning mine. To that end, I'm also glad to say, and I hope that you would see this if you move to other mines in not just 2 hours, but any mine that's visionary or trailblazing in terms of making sure that we do have an equal represented community. We're not just saying it, we intend to track and improve on our numbers and commitments over time. So that is already started actually, which is really good to see, because there is great net benefit for everybody, community, company, every person that's working there and there's a lot of pride these days, I feel, in working in a place that considers everybody. In terms of mining, I can say that I had a long career in another heavy industry, forestry, which was great too in terms of offering opportunities. But there's been I don't think there's any industry any better at offering opportunities for growth than mining. So if you're wondering if a career in mining is for you, you know, it may not be for everyone, but if you're a person that likes having the opportunity for different jobs and to be involved in an industry that's very technical these days with a lot of very unique and different equipment. If you want to work locally, the opportunity is there. If you want to, you know, move somewhere and work in a community that you might be able to commute, that's not our case. We got a 2 on 2 off rotation, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, which a lot of people really likes to, and is actually, when I talk to people, it's not uncommon that I hear them say that that's something that really draws them to mining is the flexible rotations and the chance for some people, if you like, to be able to move around the globe even. I mean, mining is certainly, the demand for minerals today is very high. So I think that gives us more opportunity, but it also gives us that stability and that security, which was important to me, and especially as I started raising a family. You know, not all mines now are high risk, and certainly not just a day or two or a year or two operation. And for a company like ours now that is a growing company, like it just gives me a far better sense of security and stability as we develop. If you are looking for a career in mining, just you know, I guess these 3 pictures will give you a little bit of where you might end up in general in a mine like ours. There is a lot of work in terms of maintenance and housekeeping and cooking and recreation, a lot of administration roles that will take place and be housed in the picture to the left there. That is our new camp. Currently, there's probably 300 people sleeping there all the time. Then in the next few weeks, as spring causes some trouble for us, there'll be fewer people there, but there's a fairly large community. If you live in Outport, Newfoundland, like I do, it is one of the larger towns, I guess, for sure. A lot of the skilled trades positions, a lot of specific metallurgy, process trades will happen in our mill. We're going to see a big ramp up there this year, as I'll explain to you a little further on in terms of numbers. The bulk of our jobs are going to be undoubtedly in our surface open pit mines. We're in the process of developing 2, with a 3rd one, I guess, that will be happening relatively soon. So there's going to be a lot of heavy equipment jobs and a high need for mechanics and supervision, mine engineering techs, those sorts of jobs. I just got this list there just to let you digest for a second, because I still find, not only with young people, but with some people who aren't young anymore, they still got the stereotype that mining is just, you know, just this old guy with a light on his hat and somewhat of a dirty place to work. And there are places still like that, and there is a place in mining for everybody. But that's not the right picture of mining and careers that we all can think about and for ourselves, and what we should be telling our sons and daughters, everybody, you know, that you can have good jobs in management, the human resource field, training, health, safety, and environment, such a prominent and professional career these days. I've seen such a growth in that over the last 15 years that I've been in mining. You know, just wonderful careers in my mind. Laborers, drillers, we're going to be very heavy on engineer, blaster, drillers, heavy haulage truck operator, dozer operators, all those types of really heavy, larger equipment that you may have seen or can picture. In our mill, you'll see a lot of need for people to be involved and specialists in chemistry, in grade control and grinding and reagents. There is a very broad list of careers in mining. As you keep checking our website, you'll see many of them being posted. And with all of them, there's some opportunities. If you haven't already gone to school before, or you're about to enter a career, then I just want to quickly just throw a few things out to the audience here today. That we in our province, Newfoundland and Labrador, we've got a wonderful curriculum, heavy equipment operator program. It's a 22-week college program, and it's a program that we're going to be looking to as we begin to develop more young people into the mining sector. We do have, there's no better program in Canada than what we've got. Some locations, you know, and there are others, but in Bay St. George and Bonavista, Placentia and St. Anthony and Badger and Holyrood. The program in Stephenville at the CNA facility has actually got a rigid frame haul truck, which is very unique and something that you'll see mostly and only in the mining sector. So I mean, that's a good thing, but really good program, and we're hoping to bolster the apprenticeship program for heavy equipment and be one of the first to do that. So if you haven't already, or if you have done, this will be a really good program to do. There's general administrative roles, quite a lot different in titles. I mean, I'm sure 5 or 6 or even 3 or 4 years ago, you wouldn't have heard of like an administrative title like mine, but there's a lot of good programs in the province, 3-year diplomas and undergraduate degree programs that can help get your foot in the door in a discipline of administration. Heavy duty equipment technician, you know, what we used to coin as a mechanic. What a wonderful career now for people to consider, young or middle age or old. It really don't matter. The demand is so high. The quality of work environment these days for heavy equipment technicians is so much better than what it used to be 20 plus years ago when I worked in the logging sector. Good careers, good pay. And of course, in the mining environment like ours, rotation work and those things become an option. So a great career. I like to say to people, if you've got a real desire for technical type work and computer type work, or if you've been someone who enjoys just fixing and tinkering things, then don't only think about university or that level of academia. You know, choose what feels right for yourself, of course. But if you could start to think or tell people that, hey, those are skill sets that would make you a great mechanic today, maybe you might want to consider doing a 37-week program. There's a few locations in our province. I've been working with CNA over the last year and a half and they've been wonderful in offering some more blaster programs at a Gander. It's a 12-week program. Even though we're not in operation, I'm proud to say we've already hired a couple of people that have done the program, and our hope is to continue that development. No, we or any mine like us, we won't be able to give jobs to everyone, but I think it's a good process, and that we're showing that the programs that are offered in our province are good programs, and we want to use that as a base to develop people. They've been typically offered in the winter sessions, but last year they offered one in September as well. There's a lot of work in mining these days around the IT field. And in fact, as the technology increases around equipment, I suspect probably not too long in the future, you'll see a mechanic and an electrician or an IT person going underground or in a surface mechanical situation together. So look for that field and the numbers of employees in the IT world just to increase in our industry and others. Metallurgy for milling and for process work is very hard to fill positions these days. We've got some good programs in our province. Actually, there's a chemical technician or technology program at CNA as well that could really line someone up to maybe getting that first job as the demand for workers increases, you know. Electrical work, electricians from an industrial standpoint is a job that you'll see a lot of in mining, and our mine will be no different. We intend to hire on journey persons and also to start up an apprenticeship program. A cook is probably the hardest job in any mine environment. I don't just say that lightly. I had the pleasure of working for a few years in camp services, and it is really hard work if you don't like getting up super early and being busy and extra busy all day. Maybe not a good career for you, but if you do like that high demand type work and want to get into a professional career in terms of certification, the program that's offered in our province is a great one. And I know that the contractor that's actually doing the service work for us, they're looking for people with that skilled trade. Just wanted to mention that to you as pathways that you can take externally. For us as a company, we're developing some things in-house so that we can give people a glimpse of what mining might look like, a way that we can give the community and community leaders a pathway to get to site and see what a mine looks like and start to share. You know, the more people that we got as ambassadors for mining, I think the more powerful we will be for sure. I mentioned probably a couple times already about a good apprentice program. I think sets us up for having a secure workforce, not just for our mine site, but for the industry as well. Proud to say, earlier than expected, we've got 2 apprentices enrolled, and even more proud to say that that we've hit a 50% target. One is female and one is male. It's nice to see things actually start to work, even while we're under development. We've got some programs already started around driller and blaster development. We are, as I said, going to adopt and for future, it'll take years to get there, but we want to have a journey person status recognized for heavy equipment operators. We do have an on-site team already under construction. I guess we're building a team of trainers so that if you come to site with limited experience, we can help progress you to new roles and new jobs. Some of that has already been taking place, and it's very nice to see. In terms of recruiting, if you've already or haven't applied for a job with us yet, very similar processes with all mining companies. Sometimes it do take a while between when a job is posted and when the call might come to you about having an interview. We've got a process well defined now, and I won't get into too much detail of it in the interest of time, but I just want you to know that it's something that do take a lot of planning. It's something that we do want to have controlled fairness over posting times for each job, and that we do have a screening process in place that will screen based on our commitments each and every time, so that we're doing what we say that we want to do, and that we're hoping to meet our commitments in the communities. From a recruitment and selection procedure and process with us, I mean, from a total rewards perspective, there are too many jobs, I guess, to even mention today. I've only just touched on some of them already to get you thinking. But in mining and at Calibre, at our mine, there is competitive base pay. There is annual incentive plan. We do have paid vacation. There's core medical and long-term disability and dental, and all those things are well, they become even more so important, I guess, as you enter into or raising families and that. But to me, it gives me a bit of peace of mind today, because all these things can be costly. So it's really important to me to work for a company that does have core benefits, and we've been developing that over the last year or two, and now, of course, merge with and become Calibre gives us, I think, a lot more strength and security that we'll have a good total reward package. Going forward with pension considerations for RSPs and to make sure that all statutory holidays are being observed. Some, I guess, some non-financial, but I guess you might say that not totally if you dig a little deeper. But for us, we got a chartered bus service that won't cost people anything. To stay at our camp doesn't cost anything. The opportunity to get into progression plans at our mine, to get involved in an apprenticeship program, I think would give me, as someone starting out new, that positive outlook that I will progress and I will move towards professional development, and that I can move into other jobs if I so desire. To apply for a job with us, go to the Calibre website. I've gone in there a few times now over the last month or so. There was some bugs first, but they seem to all be worked out now. So just go to our website and follow the careers pathway, and you'll see careers at the Valentine mine development that'll be specifically for us. But if you're interested in somewhere else in the world with Calibre, we do have mines in Nicaragua and Nevada as well. Just to give you another idea, because I just want, again, take every opportunity that I can to tell you that a mine is not only about, that stereotypical picture of just a miner underground or just equipment operation. This is an example of, almost 50 jobs that we've got posted now. Very, very, very broad choices in mining. Go in and have a look and see if you have some of the credentials to meet these jobs and go through the process. I would say go in quite often over the next week, sir. That would be my wish for you. We are in the process of developing our mine, and things are buttoning up pretty quick. So in the next year or so, you're going to see a lot of job postings with Calibre for a Valentine gold mine. Towards the end of this year, second quarter to the fourth quarter, you're going to see quite a big growth. Almost 300 job postings we're anticipating. Sometimes, the month to month, these things will change as development progresses, and some things might come quicker. But you're going to see a lot of jobs that you haven't seen posted with us yet, like process mill jobs, skilled trades jobs, and that'll continue into early 2025. We're still planning on being in production, on target, and on schedule. I'll leave you with that slide again. I'd say I'm getting close to being over time, or possibly am over. I'm available for questions. Reach out anytime. You can get our contact information from Leigh, I would imagine. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Travis. It's incredible, the diversity of career options available in the mining industry. I really like that you outlined those career pathways in mining. So that is actually a great segue into our next speaker. We have Gary Thompson from College of the North Atlantic. So Gary, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the chance to speak here, and thank everyone for listening to give me a chance to talk about things. I'd just like to say, Gary Thompson, my pronouns are he and him. And as of about a month ago, I'm the new Dean of Sustainable Development at the college. It's a new school that we've set up here at the college, School of Sustainable Development, and it's part of one of the strategic plans of the college going forward into the year 2026. We've got 3 pillars. The first one is empowerment through equity, diversity, and inclusion. The second is advancing teaching and learning opportunities, bringing in high-tech teaching. And the third one is setting the course for sustainable development, not only in the teaching and the courses we offer, but also aligning the college towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So thank you for letting me speak. I'm going to spend the next 10-15 minutes talking a little bit about a career in mining. And let's see if the first step, if I can get my slide deck working. So hopefully you can all see a screen that's with why mining, my name, the college, and 2 big numbers on it.
You're good. Good to go.
I'm good. Okay. Firstly, like normally if I was going to give a talk, I'd have a picture up there showing, a mine site or a project, some cool imagery or something like that, just to highlight the mining. But I thought I'd show two numbers. The first, we see there at the bottom, 2030, the year 2030, and that 120,000, that's the new jobs that we have to see in the mining sector by the year 2030. That's the new jobs that we're going to see across Canada in the mining sector. So there's huge growth potential in the mining sector, both in Canada, and these numbers are replicated all across North America and around the world. There is a big demand for mining. And just before I get back into that, I should jump back and let you know a little bit about my past. I am the Dean of Sustainable Development. Up until a month ago, I was in the Office of Applied Research and Innovation here at the college, Director of Industry Innovation for a number of years. And we worked with the mining sector on applied research projects and bringing in innovation, both here in the province and across Canada. And during this time, I don't think there is a mining operation in the province that I haven't dealt with on some level. So I'm very familiar with what's happening in the province and across Canada, and I've worked with a lot of different mining companies. But why do we need all these people, and why is mining so important at the moment? So the world, and we all know it, we're in a climate change crisis, and we have to change the way we're doing things. We're really moving towards a green economy. We're moving away from our reliance on oil and gas and moving towards an economy which is green and more sustainable. And one of the things about that is what is really clear is we're going to need lots of metals to make this transition possible. And to give you, we're going to need 10 times the amount of cobalt that we're seeing, the nickel, the copper. And to give you an idea of that, in the next 4 years, to meet the supply of copper demand to green our economy, we have to mine more copper that has been mined in the history of mankind up until now. So those are some numbers we're looking at, that the mining industry, I don't think it's seen a time where it's been more important to society, because the only way we're going to move to a green economy is through the metals. Every country is coming up with its list of critical minerals. We see Canada's got 31, the similar minerals that we see across the board. And the key thing about this too, is we've got to remember that we're continuing to mine the reserves that we've already got. So we're depleting our reserves. We've got to find more mines. We're going to make our mining more economic, and we've got to find more deposits. And these are finding it's hard to do. We're going to bring in new technologies. And this is why being the mining sector is really exciting at the moment. We're part of that global transition towards a green economy. But Travis alluded to it. Mining has a really poor image. When a survey was done by the Mining Industry Human Resources Council, while people aren't going into the mining, it's got a bad reputation. That's why they wanted to go into it. The remote living, the lack of job security, a number of different areas which are stopping people going into that. And I'm hoping a little bit to address some of these in the next couple of slides. Travis talked about a couple of them already. I mean, if we look at away from home and remote living, more and more we're going to see that, that might not have to be the factor. And even the 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, some people really like. And I've known a lot of workers that have worked on those sorts of rotations. And one thing that always appealed to me when they're on the 2 weeks off rotation is when you take a 2 week holiday, 10-day holiday, you actually get 6 weeks off, because it's the 2 weeks before your rotation starts, then your 2 weeks holiday, and then the 2 weeks after your rotation ends. So you have this, 6 week block where you've only taken 2 weeks. So those are little perks that people don't think about on those 2 week rotations. I just thought I'd throw that in there. And here we go. Travis gave the verbal description of what everybody thinks of a miner is. There's the picture. For some reason, when people think of mining, they think of some guy who's covered in dirt, usually coal, and it doesn't matter if they're thinking about a gold mine, a nickel mine, an iron mine. For some reason, there's always coal involved. And more likely than not, if you close your eyes and you think of a miner, you're thinking of someone carrying a pickaxe as well. And this is the bad image that mining's got, that it's, the environmental impacts, it's damaging to the environment, it's labor intensive, it's unsafe, it's a dirty job. And so this is what we've got to contend with, and we've got to start changing people's perception, is that was what mining was like 10, 15 years ago. The new mines and the mine of the future is going to be extremely different. There's new technologies coming in. Mines are now focused on safety. When I was doing consulting work for a major company, we always joked around that that company was no longer a mining company. It was a safety company that did mining on the side. Everything about mining in Canada, and I'll say that about Canada because some countries have still got to catch up, is safety is the most important aspect. And you'll see this in vision statements of all of the major companies, and including Calibre, is safety comes first and then production. So what does the new mines look like, and what is the mine of the future? So really, the mines we're talking about is there sustainability and responsibility in mining now. Mines have to have sustainable practices. We can't just go in and find a deposit and start ripping up the ground and taking that commodity somewhere else and processing it and leaving behind damaged ground. The focus is now on, and this is why in Canada it takes quite a number of years to get your mining license and to be able to operate, is you've got to prove that you're environmentally sound, that you're going to leave the environment in a better condition or a similar condition to what you found it in, and that you're engaging the community, that you need that social license to mine. And this is a big part of what Calibre, previously Marathon, has been doing for the last number of years, making sure that they've got that social license to mine. And we're seeing a lot of new technologies coming in. The image here I'm showing here on the right, this is what we call surgical mining. It's been developed by a company here right in Newfoundland, Vale. And what we see there, this is where they've got a drill rig here. You see in the center down that yellow line. They're actually just experimenting where they could extract the ore that they want or the metals they want just by drilling. So they're only extracting the metals, and all of that gray colored rock in the background, they can leave alone and leave in place. So there's new ways of coming up that are mining that are minimizing that environmental impact. Another term that you'll often hear now in mining as well is zero waste mining. This is a concept that came up a few years ago, is that a mine, we shouldn't be creating waste, or we minimize the waste we create. And the ideal aspect is to have a mine that has zero waste. And that's where we take the ore out that we want, and we look at the waste rock and we say, what can we do with the waste rock? And a classic example is the old Anaconda operations in Bay Verde, where the waste rock was then used as rock aggregate. They then formed a partnership with a company. They actually shipped rock from Bay Verde down to South Carolina to help build a port down there. And they're currently shipping some of that waste rock all around North America to help the reconstruction in the States. This is saving huge amounts of money and carbon impact because they're no longer using trucks to move that waste rock around. So what was once waste is now a commodity for it. The tailings, in many cases at mine sites, they're looking at how to repurpose those. Is there a way they can use tailings to backfill in mines? Is there a way we can use tailings? And we've done experiments with this in the college and at Grenfell University as an additive in agricultural products to improve crop production. So the whole area is to take everything we use and make use of it so we get to that zero waste mining. So what do I see as the key technology shaping the future? A big one right up the front is the virtual reality and augmented reality. We're starting to see a lot more of that happening in the mining. Training is done on simulators. All safety, a lot of safety training is improving the efficiency, the safety of mining. We're developing those computer capabilities. Drones and remote sensing with remote operations. That top image up here we see of the computer screens, that's from GRI Simulations, a local St. John's company who developed remote operations and training for the offshore field. We're now working with them with the developing remote operations and training for the mining sector. And if you look at that top diagram, that's just as likely what a mine of the future is going to look like and where you're going to be working, sitting behind a bank of computers, controlling equipment underground and controlling the mining and monitoring it. The drones and everything is pretty exciting too. If we look at the bottom of the chair, I'll see if this video plays, and hopefully it does. This is actually Bell Island mine, which is just off St. John's here. So when this mine closed down, they were still using horse and carts. And we went back in here with that little drone that you can see there, just a picture of it. This drone is automated. We don't fly it at all. It's a robot. You start the drone up, you set it to go and explore, and it will fly itself through those tunnels and map them as it goes and create a LiDAR point cloud. It can dodge anything up to 1 millimeter in diameter. If the environment changes around it, it realizes that and it'll find its way back to you. So it's getting to the stage now, we don't have to send people into dangerous environments. We can have robots to do that monitoring, etc. The other really exciting field, and I've been to a couple of these talks lately, is genomics, where we're combining the biology, the genetics, and computer science, and using those on mine sites. The baseline studies from the environmental impact reports. We can go into and collect some DNA, or they can collect DNA samples from a lake, a pond, or an area, and they can tell you exactly what species of fish are living there, what animals are in that region, at 1/10 of the cost and a fraction of the time it used to take to do the old studies. They're looking at genomics now, creating bacteria and microbes that can go into tailings or a mine and extract the metals for you and clean up old mine sites. So we're looking at the mining of the future as not only creating clean tailings, but we're going back to some of those old historic tailings from those 100-year-old mines and cleaning those up as well. So there's lots of different areas and huge amount of excitement in the mining sector of the new technologies that are coming in. So what to study? I mean, we've already, Travis did a great job, and I've got to thank him. He did a lot of the hard work for me, so I'm going to skip out on it, about what programs you can do at the college. And the STEM is obviously the key one, the engineering technology, where we've got the geomatics programs, the chemical processing programs, civil engineering, which you'll find on mine sites, natural resources and industrial trades. That's where we've got our heavy equipment operators, our welders that you find there, the business, information technology, computing, database management, cybersecurity, and the new School of Sustainable Development. We've got our environmental programs in there. We're looking at developing a sustainable mining program, our clean energy programs. And at the college, you can go do courses that are a few weeks in length, up to a year for 1-year diplomas, 3-year diplomas. And now in our IT program, we also have a technology bachelor's as well. So the STEM is the obvious field, but I'd like to point out that, when people ask me what should I study if I want to get into the mining sector, whatever you're interested in. And that's the key thing. There's jobs for everybody. I mean, the pro screen that you see on the right there with those 3 students, 2 of those students there were from our graphics arts program, from our School of Arts and Comprehensive Sciences. They were working with engineering students, a mining company. They wanted to take high resolution photographs of drill core. So our graphics arts students, experts in photography, they work with the engineering technology students, and they designed the frame that you see there, how to do automated photographs of drill core using an iPhone and to create high resolution photos. So that's where we were taking students that never traditionally thought they'd be in the mining sector, had them working on mining projects. And as I say, most of the programs that we've got, you'll find that person in the mine site. So really, if you want to get in the mining sector, look at the college, look at our websites, look at the programs there, go to places like, Travis's site for the jobs that there. If you want to reach out and talk to me about, a career in mining or mining in general, please, there's my email connections. You can get them off Leah as well. And you can reach out to the college. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gary. Okay, now we are going to move on to our next speaker. We have Jenny Gulliver from Vale. So Jenny, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Yes, you are
Okay.
good.
Thank you. Thank you to Gary and Travis. Love the presentations and learning a little bit more about what's in the education world. And I couldn't start this presentation myself without sharing that Travis and I have also worked together in a past life. So it was really great to see your face and learn a little bit more about what you guys are doing out Central. Thank you very much to WRDC for inviting us to come today and present to you on what Vale has to share. My name is Jenny Gulliver. I'm the Talent Acquisition Lead for Vale Newfoundland and Labrador. I've been with the company for about 10 years and doing recruitment for the most part for my whole time here. So it was only a pleasure to get to present to the audience today on a little bit about what we do. WRDC and Vale have had partnership in the past, certainly from a DE&I perspective, and some of the initiatives and targets that Vale wants to achieve within its operations, not only here in Newfoundland and Labrador, but across the globe. So again, another reason for us to highlight and certainly showcase a little bit about what Vale has been up to and what our goals are for the future from a diversity, equity, and inclusion perspective. So I know Lisa did the land acknowledgement in the beginning, so I won't repeat that today, but thank you so much for acknowledging the land that we operate in and our agreements within our Indigenous lands. Today, I want to share a little bit about what Vale does globally so you get a sense of the size of our company. I do want to share with you a little bit about the DE&I initiatives that we do globally, as well as within Newfoundland and Labrador. And then I also saw a question in the chat already about what are companies doing from a diversity, equity, and inclusion perspective. So I want to share some stats with you, some goals and targets, some work that we've already done within the province, and then of course where we want to see ourselves in the future. Wouldn't be able to leave the presentation without sharing with you about the current opportunities that Vale has locally here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So that's what the intention will be throughout today, or for the next couple of minutes for sure. I think the next slide is, we want to show a video and forgive me, I think I'm a little bit slower. Okay, we want to show this video. It's about 2 minutes long. It gives you a really good understanding of how Vale operates, or how we operate, certainly, and then we can dive into some of the material. Awesome. All right. So what do we do? Vale Base Metals is one of the world's largest producers of high quality nickel, and an important producer of copper and cobalt as well. We have headquarters in Toronto, Canada, within our base metals operation, and also operations in Newfoundland and Labrador, Ontario, Manitoba, Indonesia, and Brazil. The business delivers critical building roadblocks for a cleaner, greener future. We'll soon cover more details about the Canadian locations, but certainly wanted to give you an overview from a high level. Our purpose and values have stayed the same for as long as I've been here in the last 10 years. So we exist to improve life and transform the future together. And as you can see on this slide, I thought it would be really helpful for us to review Vale's values. We live and work by these values on a daily basis, and is actually at the forefront of how we recruit new people into our organization to determine if they're a fit for Vale. So I do want to share a little bit about each of them. So life matters most is certainly the most important. We believe that life is more important than material results, any goods, and we incorporate this vision in our business decisions. We're obsessed with safety, and it's definitely one of the ways we practice this through our safety shares. At the beginning or start of any meeting, we typically share safety-related tips. We act with integrity, so every day we come to work with integrity in mind. We value the people who build our company. And so when you think about having a skill set or certainly education and experience for a role, that's why we hire you into the company, because of your expert experience and the value that you bring. We make it happen. Sometimes it's lots of roadblocks and pushing through lots of things that for adversity, like we have a hard time kind of moving through with all the roadblocks we typically have within the mining industry. But at the end of the day, we make it happen, and we respect our planet and our communities. And really, it comes down to, I think, Gary, you had mentioned it in your presentation. I think, Travis, you may have as well. We want to walk away from mining these lands and bring them back to exactly the state that we found them in. So it really is about our planet and our community. I want to be able to show our presence, so just how large we are. We certainly have the opportunity from a global perspective to have a large presence within Vale. We're active certainly around the world and operating in 5 different countries, including Brazil, Indonesia, Japan, the United Kingdom, and Canada. And so really that I just wanted to give you that high level picture of how big our operations are, and certainly across the globe. But next, I really want to focus on our presence in Canada, and it really spans across the country from out west to Manitoba operations in Thompson. We have 3 locations in Ontario, and we also have 3 locations in Newfoundland and Labrador. And so for time's sake, I really want to focus on Newfoundland and Labrador operations, which I think is an integrated mining, milling, and process operation that we have here in the province. And a lot of people don't really know or about our footprint or about our presence here in the province, and about the great work that we do and some of the state-of-the-art facilities that we have. So a couple of stats I want to share. So nickel concentrate comes from our fly-in, fly-out operation. Some of you have heard of Voisey's Bay. It's an operation in northern Labrador. We take the ore directly from our Voisey's Bay operation, and we ship it to our state-of-the-art Lung Harbor processing plant facility, where it's refined into low carbon and high purified nickel rounds, cobalt rounds, and copper. That goes directly to market. We also have an office here in St. John's, where I'm sitting today, and we call that our corporate office, certainly. But it's a place where a lot of our employees that work in Voisey's Bay and Long Harbor have a central hub location, and a lot of the employees like myself work here out of St. John's office. We're proud to provide stable, well-paying jobs, employing a team of dedicated, high-performing people. Again, we do that through our recruitment process by finding the right fit of people to join our organization. In fact, we're one of the largest private company employers here in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Definitely makes us proud. The numbers fluctuate. In Voisey's Bay, some of you have heard, we're actually building 2 underground mines from open pit mining. And so given that we have a lot of presence at our Voisey's Bay mine site right now, our numbers kind of fluctuate depending on where we are from a construction perspective. But at this current time, we employ about 4,200 people in the province. It's actually doubled plus over the last couple of years, which is pretty incredible. It includes direct Vale employees and some of the contractors that do some key pieces of work for us. proud to say we have 96% of our employees which reside in the province. So we're huge on hiring local talent. We definitely see it as a plus to increase our economy and have people stay at home and grow our province as it is today. 30% of our Voisey's Bay operations teams are Indigenous from our Aboriginal stakeholders within Labrador, Nunatsiavut government, and Indonesian, something we also feel very proud of. We also partner with an organization in Labrador called Labrador Aboriginal Training Partnership, and we build we've built an underground beginner training program with them, employment program, where we take Aboriginal peoples outside of their communities. We train them to start beginning to become underground miners, which obviously is new to us in Voisey's Bay. So it's certainly training within. In addition to our scholarship programs, we've also invested in youth through co-op programs. So each year we hire anywhere between 60 and 90 students that join our operations in Voisey's Bay, Long Harbour, and St. John's and support functions within the province. So I think last year, in particular in 2023, we hired 93 work term students. So again, something that we're certainly proud of when we think about early talent and training and developing students right out of graduation. This picture is of our Chief Mine Geologist, Kim Morrissey-Burton. She works in Voisey's Bay. She has worked in Voisey's Bay for several years. This is taken at Discovery Hill in Voisey's Bay. So you can imagine that behind her, you can see the beautiful landscape in which we operate. We are a fly-in, fly-out remote location in Voisey's Bay. So we do know it's necessarily not the work environment for everybody, but what we definitely do sell is that, I think Gary had mentioned it as well, when you work in the mining industry, it's typically a really great rotation. If rotation works for you, it's 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. And so Kim's been doing this type of rotation throughout her entire career while maintaining, as a woman, maintaining, her DE&I initiatives as a professional, but also in her personal life. Also to share that we in Voisey's Bay we're moving certainly towards in our journey of increasing women. We do have some specific initiative programs that we are going to be kicking off later this year on canvassing for women in certain disciplines and certain skill sets that we want to promote and hire additional women in Voisey's Bay as part of our DE&I targets for this year. This next one is where I really want to focus on some of the work that we have been doing. It's basically our journey. And so because I've been here for a number of years, I will say since 2020, we've been really intentional as a company on our DE&I initiatives, goals, targets, breaking down barriers for women, making the workplace more inclusive. So in this first box, you can see that we have been focused on a goal for increasing women in the company, and we aim to double the representation of women working within Vale by 2025. We've really recently hit some really great milestones and big ones. Women currently represent 34% of our executive leadership positions across the organization. And the number of women working in Vale base metals, so within our base metals operations, we've increased since 2019. We had 1,235 women, and currently today we have 3,030 women. So when you think of the jump, the dedicated intentional goals and targets and programs, we have made big strides, and it has become a part of our future. Gender diversity within an organization is definitely part of our future. And when you put a target and milestone in place that says we want to double our representation of women within our organization within a short time period, it has to be very intentional. The second one is one that I'm really proud of. In partnership with WRDC for 2 years in a row, we have hired over 50 processing plant technicians in our Long Harbour facilities, Long Harbour facility, all women and non-binary. And so last year we ran a unique campaign. We actually had to get approval from the Human Rights Commission of Newfoundland and Labrador to explicitly advertise and source women and non-binary candidates only. We ran our typical recruitment process with this in mind, having explicit to women and non-binary. It was overly successful. We had information sessions, people applied. We broke down barriers and stigma on, our process, PPE, our schedules, childcare, transportation. We overcame so many roadblocks to be able to make it happen. And I do believe it was because, the continued effort from our stakeholders, including WRDC, including our leadership within Vale, including the candidates like yourself that are out there looking for either a change in career, a new career, starting off a career. We did see a lot of women that came to us that were looking for a change. And mining is not a male-dominated or gender male-dominated industry anymore. We are evolving. It's not, the old saying that I've heard before is, when you work in a mine, the stigma that is associated with it is dirty and it's dark. And while those things are still true, they're still very much, beyond that and the technology that brings us forward in modernizing mining these days. Not to get into too much detail, but these days you can mine underground from surface, as an example. You can drive heavy equipment with a remote control. And so those are just some of the things that, kind of brings us to the next generation of mining, for example. So just to finish off on the second box here is over 26% of our Long Harbour workforce is identified as women and non-binary. Those we feel are very astonishing results, considering that we were under 15% a couple of years ago. Some people might say, it's great that you've hired all these women. What about the retention of them? And, the HR team in conjunction with the business here at Vale have worked really hard on retention strategies. And I certainly won't go through them today, but I can assure you that we're making headway with not only attracting women to Vale, but also to retain them and then to promote them into more leadership roles and career goals and aspirations. The last part here is really about understanding the needs and challenges faced by our workforce. So we've prioritized several key initiatives designed to ensure that every member of the team feels supported. So work's ongoing throughout our operations to ensure properly fitted, safe, and comfortable PPE is available for everyone. We remain committed to improving the accessibility of reporting mechanisms for incidents of harassment, discrimination. So we have confidential channels that we've built in, including the Respect channel and the Whistleblower channel, provides secure platforms for raising concerns promptly and very confidentially. And these channels are further supported by educational initiatives, and stop harassment campaigns. These are just some of the results of feedback and committees and from a women's perspective within the workplace to ensure that they're safe, they're heard, they're valued. And so these are just some of the things that we have been doing. All right, so moving along, again, want to show an opportunity to showcase some of the jobs. This is a picture of one of our lab techs in Voisey's Bay doing some lab work. So again, it's not just when you think of mining, it's certainly not just the underground miners or the surface miners. There's lots of job opportunities, and certainly just moving to the next slide there, it really gives you an opportunity to showcase some of the roles that we have open and available today in Newfoundland and Labrador. And so again, there's lots of diversity in the roles itself. I invite you to come to our website and sign up job alerts so you can be notified immediately when a job is posted that matches your skills. Feel free to use the QR code there as well. So you can certainly take a look at our website, learn a little bit more about what we do. You can certainly enhance what I've said today. I would say that we're ramping up, in certain areas within the organization here locally in the province. The recruitment team hired 359 people into Vale, Newfoundland, Labrador last year. And so I would suspect we're well on our way for hiring the same amount again this year. So lots of opportunity across all skill sets, including early talent programs, training within, as long as you have basic education and transferable skills. If anything I've said today is certainly of interest to you, take a look at our website, certainly get in touch with myself or through our WRDC. We most likely will be doing more work with WRDC in the coming months on some of the DE&I initiatives that we have planned for this year and next year and for the foreseeable future. We will be focused on gender diversity within the province, certainly locally and abroad. That's it for me. Thank you all for joining and giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about what we do, some of the things that we're really proud of. If you think of any questions, certainly jump them in the chat. If I don't get them to answer them before the end of the session today, I certainly make sure that I will. We'd love to, see your application in the future. We'd love to talk more about what your goals are if you have an interest in mining. And you can certainly feel free to email us at our vnlrecruitment@vale.com email address. Thank you to Lisa, Leah, and the WRDC team.
Thank you so much, Jenny. You're doing so many amazing things for women in skilled trades and STEM. That's incredible. So we did want to share an interview with you that one of our STEM for Girls role models did with our STEM for Girls career coordinator, Trina. So Shayna Burgess is a mine technician and, like I mentioned, one of our role models. So in the interest of time, I'm actually just going to share the link to her video in the chat rather than playing it right now because it is about 20 minutes long. We want to get to some of those questions. So I'm going to just copy this link and pop it in the chat. And I would definitely encourage everyone to if you have 20 minutes, to watch it and learn about Shayna's experience as a mine technician. She also has a profile on our STEM for Girls website as a role model, and I'm going to share that in the chat as well. And actually, if you go to that site, the role models, there's a search option in the top, and you can just search the word mining, and it's going to pull up any of the role models there that have mining in their bio. So whatever their role might be, if they're in that industry, you can have a look and get a sense of some other women and gender diverse folks that are working in the mining industry, which is really great. We always love to have those people share their experiences with us. So huge thank you to our speakers for joining us today. This has been so great and there's been so much information. Before I get to the Q&A, I would just want to maybe encourage everyone, if you want to pop your emails in the chat or the links to those job pages that you shared, just in case anyone does want them, if you want to pop them in the chat now so that people can have them for later, that would be great. Also, anyone can reach out to myself or anyone else at WRDC and we can certainly pass that along. But getting into the questions, so Travis has answered 2 of the questions already in the chat, which is great. Thank you, Travis. So Donna asks, are you looking for workers? So this question I think came in while Jenny was speaking, so it's probably directed to Vale, but Vale and Calibre are both hiring. As they mentioned, they've got their job sites up that list all of their current opportunities. So we'll pop those in the chat for you so that you can see what jobs are available. If there's anything any one of you want to add to that. The next question is for all. So if anyone wants to jump in on this one, if you could change one thing about the mining industry, what would it be?
That's a tough one because in my role or my previous role is with innovation, it would be that the speed that the mining industry adopts new technologies and processes. It's traditionally a very conservative in the way they adopt things. We always talk about the race to be second, right? The mining companies sit back and wait to see what all the other mining companies are doing before they jump on the board with new technologies. We're starting to slowly see that change because they have to move quicker and faster to stay competitive. To finish on a plus side, as far as breaking down barriers and safety is concerned, especially in Canada, every organization is in that race now. The barrier's already been broken. People have realized that it's the way forward. We've got to do this, and we heard that speaking from Vale, what they're doing in the mining sector and Calibre as well. The thing, Jenny, Kim, is longer than several years. I worked with Kim Morrissey and Vale I'm pretty sure back in 2011, 2012. So she's been there a long time, right? Working with Vale and obviously enjoying it and feels part of the team as well. So that would be my one thing, is the speed they're taking up new technologies.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. And I would probably add one thing I would change is what we are changing. So we're removing the stigma that mining is a gender-dominated industry, and that we don't necessarily have diversity within the mining industry. I think the industry itself has come leaps and bounds over the last several years when we've made it intentional to ensure that we remove the stigma against gender biased within our industry.
With our new mining engineering technician program in Corner Brook, over 50% of the enrollment is from underrepresented groups for this current cohort. So that's showing that it's moving towards that sector anyway. Well, that diversity we're seeing both in the training and what the companies are hiring. And just as another plug is enrollment in that program this year was covered by the Mining Human Resources Council. So that lowered barriers because the finances were taken care of.
Great. Okay, so our next question is, what can and should governments do differently to aid in increasing women and gender diverse peoples in the industry?
I think there needs to be a continuation, actually. Like some of the change that I've seen in the last few years that people don't realize, I guess, is that our government actually do support a lot of not-for-profit and awareness support systems provincially and federally, and some of which, well, there's a reason why we're here today. So I think kind of the same with industries as the change wave is upon us, and more people are realizing the need to make improvements, that there'll be continued support. So it's not so much of a do differently. I would say a continue and keep it going, because the industry then benefits from it. You know, from some of the coursework, for example, that WRDC can offer, and some of the work that Mir's been doing federally, and on it goes. I think from a government standpoint, I would say probably would be a good consideration now to help be a part of some mandated awareness. You know, like in the same kind of notion we think about OH&S training, some of it being mandatory awareness. I think you know, if we could embed some of like the WRDC programs, like you know, for inclusion, embed that into our college programs, you know, and even a short course. They're not on, you know, if you want to think about like a you know, some common courses that are laws, and you must have a power line hazard, or you must have an OH&S committee course. Well, I think probably that's a step that government can take, is that we legislate some basics and start that communication for companies, and for smaller companies in particular that may not have the opportunity or the knowledge, or, you know, like for the groups that we're working with. I would say the progression, we're already steep into beyond the learning curve and willing to learn more. We're looking for more. And I think that would be a good help provincially, is to have some more mandated, or some mandated, you must have courses like similar to OH&S. Awareness is key.
Okay, so we have someone in the chat who is asking about searching for a job in the mining industry. They seem to have a lot of experience, a lot of education in Nigeria, South Africa, some degrees from MUN, and they're having a little difficulty with their job search, and wondering if it makes sense to apply as a laborer to get a foot in the door, maybe move their way up. So if anyone wants to speak to that, or maybe talk about the kind of transfer of experience globally, and if people are coming from different places, you know, is there opportunity here in the province?
As I read that, I kind of thought maybe that they specifically already applied, but wasn't hearing back. You know, I think anybody, like, I don't know the right answer, so I'll speak as if it was myself. I would apply for a job that I was qualified for. You know, sometimes applying for jobs that you're not, you get the same result, that you don't get a call back because you don't make it through the screening process. I would imagine that most companies in mining, like I outlined, we've got a recruitment process, and if there's someone more local, perhaps with the same or equivalent experience, and there could be a host of reasons that I wouldn't know or couldn't really speak to. But I think certainly keep checking, keep applying. You know, apply for what you're suited to, and absolutely, I think if there's any job that you are qualified for, don't consider it a you know, only an entry-level job. Would be critical and key, because the mining industry do offer a lot of opportunities to elevate and try new things once you're in there. So I would say just, you know, good luck with it, and don't be discouraged.
I think, yeah, just jumping in there as well, like, you know, reading that, and talking about people coming in from overseas here, I mean, for some of those positions, you've got to be probably designated as a professional engineer and a geoscientist. And so it's contacting that organization to find out how you go through getting your credentials recognized, or what more training you have to do to become a PGO or a PEng. That might help as well. And that's always a good organization to talk to, because they've got contacts right inside the mining sector. If you're looking for a job as well, I'd really recommend turning up to the mining conferences that take place. There's one taking place in Gander in April, MineX, as the next big one. And I'm sure Travis will be there. You can meet him in person and talk to him. In November in Newfoundland, in St. John's, there's always the Mineral Review. It's the largest mining conference on the island and in the province. All of the mining companies are there. You take the chance to go down and just to talk to people and meet people that way. Like that sort of networking goes a long way when you're talking with the companies and you turn up at their booths and you learn a bit more about that. Then you're no longer just that person on a computer or something. There's a face to you. That really helps.
There's been if you could, I think it's good advice too that just came to me to reach out to the Department of Multiculturalism as well. I've sat in on a couple like global career sessions that they've done where we've had a virtual booth, and in those sessions I've been specifically looking for candidates with, you know, some hard to fill, in particular mining credentials. So those are good things to register for as well. And I know our province has at least done two, maybe more. I've sat in on two of them recently. So if there is a contact, if you know someone, perhaps you can shoot a name. Gary, you might know someone closely.
Yes.
There's been some good work there. I think that might be, you know, just a good place to get some guidance too.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you all again for taking the time to come speak with us, to answer our questions. There were a few more questions in the chat, but we are just about out of time. We just have a minute left. So we wrap up. I did just want to say that we have a survey that we like to share. If you could just take the time to fill it out, I'm going to pop it in the chat. It really helps us with planning these events, providing people with the info that they need. So if you could take a few minutes, all of you participants, to fill that out, some feedback, that would be really appreciated. We are also having another Career Connections. So March 27th, we're going to be focusing on oceans and marines. So if you wanted to attend that, I'm going to pop the link to sign up for that event in the chat. So same format as today, and our folks that are joining us will be talking about oceans and marines. So again, thank you so much, Travis, Gary, and Jenny, for taking the time, sharing all this great information. And hopefully we've encouraged a few more women and gender diverse folks to explore careers in mining, because it sounds like there are a lot of opportunities out there. So yes, thank you to everyone, and be sure to follow WRDC on all of our social channels. That's where we will share information about workshops, events like these, anything like that. So again, thank you, everyone. This has been excellent, and we hope to see you at the Oceans and Marines event on March 27th. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.